What's going on, guys? Steve Pulaski back with another video review, this time of J.A. Bayona's And Monster Calls. Bayona previously directed the movie The Impossible, starring Ewan McGregor and Penelope Cruz, and that was a pretty good film. So what's The Monster Calls? First off, this is technically a last year's movie, like Hidden Figures was. You know, he was released over, like, Christmas and whatnot, but it was, finally given a wider release this first week in January. So the film basically stars Louis McDougall. He's a young boy, young kid, like middle school age, and he's having a rough time because his young mother, played by Felicity Jones, she's undergoing like chemotherapy and cancer treatments, and she's in real bad shape. So he's largely left to the care of his father and his grandmother, who he can't stand. Grandmother's played by Sigourney Weaver. And basically what winds up happening is the kid winds up having these like real big fantastical imaginations of this enormous, towering, like woodsy, like, root constructed monster who's voiced actually by Liam Neeson, who does a really impeccable job at the voice acting here. It reminds me a lot of the voice acting of like the Jungle Book, and like Bill Murray as a bear, as the bear, and like Idris Elba as the snake, where all these voices are like very, pulsating and vibrant and very character driven. So the film basically revolves around this boy and his relationship with this monster who pops up every now and then in the middle of the night and tells these real like mythical stories that try to help him overcome the grief and the pain he's feeling right now while watching his mother suffer. And first off, one of my only complaints about the film is really, like, I don't know who this movie's for. You know what I mean? It's based off a novel. This movie is like too dark for kids. I would not take a kid who's under like 11 to see this movie to begin with. It's very dark, it's very grim, it's dour. It's not like a negative factor, but it's just not a movie to lift your spirits, as I like to say. But I don't know if a lot of adults are really going to be too gripped by it. I think it's kind of like the weird intermediate movie that's kind of going to like find its audience over time. I'm not sure they're going to, the audience that's going to see this movie is necessarily going to race out and go see it this weekend or the next weekend. This might be one that they find over time. But overall, it is a pretty good film. There's a lot of good acting in this, particularly from the boy Louis McDougall, who really, puts a lot of young, like, child actors to shame, and like how much he has to handle. Like, I was really critical of the kid from the Jungle Book. I was really critical of his performance too. And I don't like to be very critical of acting, but this kid, Louis McDougall, really handles this role amazingly well, and carries that emotional leverage with it throughout the entire picture. As I said, Neeson is really good, brings a powerful vocal presence to this monster character. And even the supporting characters of Weaver and Jones are both pretty good as well. And I think the ending really impressed me the most. Like, I was kind of like on the fence throughout the whole movie. I was like, I like it, but it's a little bit at times a little bit too drab, a little bit uncharismatic with the characters. They're a little bit too drawn too thinly. But then when the ending came and I saw the real, like, emotional and almost like quiet morality and spirituality in the ending, I began to appreciate it more than if the ending would have just ended in some big fantastical action romp. So there's a lot to admire in A Monster Calls. That's more transcends more than visual power. I think there's a lot in this movie that is really impressive, and I do think that narratively this film is very good, which says something, because last year we were bombarded with these kinds of movies, like Man and Beast movies. I mean, you had not only had like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but you also had Kubo and the Two Strings, you had Pete's Dragon, you had the BFG, which nobody saw. This is almost like the antithesis of the BFG, which is, I thought was a little bit dark when I first saw it last July, but no, this is much darker. A Monster Calls gets a 3 out of 4 stars from me, Steve Pulaski, or on the Influx magazine scale, it gets a solid B. Did enjoy this film, would recommend it, liked it enough. Keep in mind this video review is just a supplemental material to aid to my written review, which you can read on Influx magazine or on my personal website, stevethemovieman.proboards.com. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't. I'll see you guys at the movies and for the next video. Bye.